And allow me to first, on behalf of the community, to thank you for your steadfast support for Armenia, Armenians, and Armenian causes. As we all very well know, you were in Armenia recently. You joined a distinguished delegation headed by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. What you said when you came back, you said this was the most valuable trip I've ever made to Armenia. What was so special about this valuable trip? What can you share with us?
Well, I'll say two things, and whatever else you want me to talk about. But first of all, the outpouring of pro-Americanism, if that's what you would call it, was unbelievable. From when we landed at the airport in Yerevan until we left, wherever we went, including the streets from the airport into Yerevan, were just lined with thousands of people waving American flags and holding signs that said, "We love America. America is our ally." I've never had that before, Vartan. I've been to Armenia, I don't know, over 10 times, and I've never seen that kind of outpouring of expression, for America. It was overwhelming. Thousands of people, really, wherever we went. The second thing, of course, is that because of the attack by Azerbaijan that had occurred, just a few days earlier, there was a lot to discuss that was very important in terms of, trying to protect Armenia and seeing what we can do for Armenia's security. And most important right now, to prevent any further attacks, to make sure that the ceasefire stayed in place, and to try to, to make the Azerbaijan troops leave Armenian territory. So that's why it was so significant.
You just brought it. The first word you mentioned was pro-Americanism, and maybe that is the question we are faced with. Is it pro-Americanism or pro-Russianism that we should adhere to? And it's a very, very difficult question. And my question to you is, how can America assist Armenia in this time, knowing very well that Armenia is entangled in the Russian sphere?
Well, I've always felt,
yes,
and I've always believed that Armenia is pro-Western. First of all, because it is a democracy, and the culture historically has been very Western. So it's no surprise. It's never been the case that when I went to Armenia that people were not pro-American. But it's just the outpouring on the street that I've never witnessed that anywhere that I've been. It's not just in Armenia. I've never witnessed that anywhere in the world, to be perfectly honest, to that level, But we have to figure that out. In other words, I think right now the most important thing is the fact that, Secretary of State Blinken had played a major role in arranging the ceasefire. He's been meeting with the Prime Minister in New York, and we are, and U.S. Embassy and State Department are pushing Azerbaijan to withdraw from Armenian territory. So clearly, I don't want to say, I don't want to use the words, but it's clear that the State Department and the Biden administration believe that Azerbaijan was the aggressor, and that they have to, and that they need to, abide by Armenia's territorial integrity. I've never been one of those who says that, Russia has to get out, or that Russia should leave, or, I'm not of that ilk, because I want Armenia to be protected. But, there is a serious question about whether, Russia is really protecting Armenia at this point. But, I'm not suggesting that they shouldn't. I think they should. But we'll see.
One of the headlines said, Nancy Pelosi visited Armenia. What's next? What would you answer it?
Well, I do think that we need to do more. I could go through the litany of all the things that the Armenia Caucus has done in the last year in terms of, providing, I think in this year's budget we had $45 million in assistance. We have another $2 million for demining in Artsakh. In the House passed bill for the next fiscal year, we have $60 million in funding. But, that's not for security purposes. And so I think we have to think about what can be done for security purposes. And I can't, get into, what that might be. But I think right now the security issue is foremost. Obviously, we want to protect democracy in Armenia as well, and we've certainly talked a lot about that. The U.S. is involved in providing help for the police forces, for reform, for judicial reform. I could go through the list, and I'm not taking away from those things, but I do think the issue right now is security. We can't have Azerbaijan, invading Armenian territory. We have to make sure that we protect the territorial integrity of Armenia, but we also have to make sure that the people of Artsakh live freely and that they continue to be protected, because they're probably the most in peril now. I mean, the only thing that's standing between Artsakh and Azerbaijan are the Russian troops that are, the peacekeeping forces. So we have to keep Artsakh in mind as well. But the problem last week, Vartan, was this actual invasion of Armenia itself. I think the government estimated there were like 75 square kilometers of Armenian territory that they still occupy in Armenia, in the south, in that area. And so we have to get them out of there, and we have to have some kind of agreement, that the United States or the Minsk group could broker that guarantees not only the territorial integrity of Armenia, but also the future of the people of Artsakh, so they can remain in their homeland.
You know how fast news travels, and you had your pictures in our homes. The minute you touched Armenia, the minute you landed in Armenia, the pictures were flying all over the world. And we also witnessed Nancy Pelosi at the Dzernagapert, the memorial. Was this her first visit to Armenia?
Yes, it was. I asked her, and it was. And actually, she's the highest ranking person in the U.S. government that has visited an Armenia in anybody's memory, as a Speaker of the House. And, really, I should say a few words about her. First of all, this was totally her idea. She said, look, I have to go. And that was planned even before the Azerbaijan attack on Armenia.
Yes.
But even more so. In other words, after she saw that occur on Tuesday, she was even more determined to say, we have to go. And I think that her being there, because she was the speaker, really reinforced, the fact that Armenia looks to the West, that they want U.S. help with their security. And I believe a lot of those people that were lining the streets were there for her. I mean, they were there because they appreciated her coming in the aftermath of this attack and aggression by Azerbaijan. I mean, that was clear. I always go to, I always try to do a little shopping, which was difficult because we didn't have much time. And I went into a shop and I bought a little, I don't know what you want to call it, like a pillow, I guess.
Okay.
And the guy says to me, he says, I want you to give, he gave me a little ceramic piece to give to her. He said, I want you to give this to the speaker. People were very aware of the fact that she was there. The average person on the street and the shopkeepers, they knew she was there, and they were very appreciative.
The average person in America also knew she was there, and we are complaining that there was any news items broadcast on the ABC or CNN about this trip. Somehow it was not covered. But be it as it may, your final comments. I know you're busy. I know you're at the festival, Greek festival. Anything else you would like to add?
Well, I just want all the Armenian Americans in the diaspora to know that we have Armenia's back. In other words, in Congress, we are, and it's, I know that those of us who we're all Democrats, but assure you that this is a bipartisan effort in Congress to make sure that we have Armenia's back. Beautiful. We are determined to help with their security. We recognize that Azerbaijan's aggression, and we know that it's a tough situation, but we are going to do whatever we can to protect Armenia, rest assured.
Congressman Pallone, I've known you for many years, and I know I've followed you, and I know that for many decades you have stood by Armenia, Armenians, Armenian causes, Armenian genocide resolutions. All we can say is a very simple and sincere thank you. Enjoy the day. It's a beautiful day.
All right. Thanks, Vartan.
Take
care.
All right. Take care.
Bye.